Some people might say that the 16-bit era was the golden age of RPGs, and I can't help but agree with them. This was a time when there were a lot of RPGs coming out, and most of them were pretty damn good. The company most associated with releasing RPGs in this time was Squaresoft, makers of the Final Fantasy games. Squaresoft have always been one of the most well-known and well-respected makers of RPGs, especially now that they were acquired by Enix, makers of the Dragon Quest games. Despite this, I feel in a lot of ways a lot of the Squaresoft games bled into each other. They weren't all generic, but it was becoming a problem. It's why I've always preferred other developers like Enix, Atlus, Taito, and Capcom. If Square put out one game during this time that I considered an absolute masterpiece, it was Chrono Trigger. But hold on, that's not the game I'm here to talk about. That's right, bitches. I'm actually talking about the sequel, Chrono Cross. Where's your god now? Well, okay, if in truth I'd like to have them both on the list, but if I can only pick one from each series, the sequel gets it any day. While it is true that most people agree with me that Chrono Cross is an absolute masterpiece and one of the best games for the PlayStation, it seems that most people still prefer the first game, Chrono Trigger. Well, whatever, they can make their own lists. Chrono Cross is actually a remake of sorts. There was a 16-bit sequel to Chrono Trigger called Radical Dreamers: The Unstealable Jewel that was only released in Japan, but it's anything but what you'd expect. It's a text-based adventure game, kind of like a video game version of a choose-your-own-adventure novel. That game involved three characters, Surge, Gil, and Kid, storming Viper Manor in search of the Frozen Flame and revenge against the evil Lynx. Chrono Cross turns the entire thing into an RPG and greatly expands upon the themes and characters in the original game. It really is the true sequel to Chrono Trigger. Everything about the game is pretty unique for its time. The battle system seems simple enough at first. Each turn your characters get a certain amount of stamina points, and you choose combinations of differing attacks and magic. But then there's this whole complicated color system that makes it much more deep, including each character and enemy having an innate color, which affects what they're weak to and what they're strong against. And the terrain itself has colors that can be modified by your own attacks. A simple representation of changing terrain through magic. Armor and weapons can't just be bought. You need to provide the smiths with the raw materials to make them. And you can also disassemble them to use the materials for other items. The game has over 40 characters that can join you, though you still only use 3 at a time. Although some people feel so many characters led to poor development of some, it's clear that there are some characters who are developed and others that are there for you just to change the gameplay experience. Instead of focusing on time travel, the game focuses on travel between 2 dimensions. The one that you start off in is called Homeworld, and the other is called Another World. They're the same, but have many important differences, all relating to the fact that in Another World, Surge died at a young age. The game explores the theme that every decision or event creates a new world of possibility and destroys all others. There's an area called the Dead Sea where dead futures go. It's all very fascinating, and due to the multiple characters and paths and the cast of characters that can't all be gathered in one playthrough, not to mention themes of the stories that may take a little while to sink in, Chrono Cross has quite a lot of replay value. You could play it many, many times and have a completely different experience each time, or a similar experience that differs in some subtle ways. Most of the characters are pretty typical, but some of them are kind of weird, like Nikki the rock star or Orcha the chef. And then there's characters that are absolutely batshit insane, like Skelly the skeleton, Starky the alien, and Pip the... whatever the fuck Pip is. It's easy to play through the first half of the game and wonder what in the name of fuck this has to do with Chrono Trigger, but by the time it wraps up nicely in the end, it expands greatly on the themes, characters, and story arc from the first game. Not only is it a great game, but it's also a work of art. The soundtrack is beautiful, and the colorful and detailed surroundings are some of the best you'll see on the PlayStation. The art director really did a great job on this one, from the colorful island villages to the ominous dragon fortress, Gaia's navel, an island where everything is still prehistoric. So yeah, the end result is, while I absolutely love Chrono Trigger, I think the sequel was even better, and I'm one of the many, many people who are wondering about the third game. What's the damn holdup? In all the years since the game's release, the only inkling of a sequel was Square registering a trademark by the name Chrono Break, a game that never got made. But now with the first game having been re-released on the DS, interest in the series is high again, so here's hoping.